Today we're going to be looking at Blender 2.5. I'm working with Blender 2.57 Stable, which just came out the other day. And we're going to be looking at the compositor and adding a vignette to a scene or a video or an image that you're working on. So here we go, we'll get started. I will click up here and go change my setup to the compositing setup. We'll click Use Nodes, Backdrop, and we will move these over here. In fact, we're going to delete this one, so click on it and click Delete. We'll hit Shift A and select an input. We'll say an image, and here you can pick an image or a video or a series of images. Let me go to my videos here, and I'll just grab a video I took of myself a little while back. We'll connect it to the compositor for now, but notice we don't get anything in the background. Here we're going to hit Shift A and go to Outputs and choose Viewer. And there we go. Now you can press V on your control pad to zoom that out, back up a little bit so you can see the full image if it goes too large. Or I think it's Alt V to zoom back in. So V to zoom out, Alt V to zoom in. Let's get that to where you can see everything. You also notice one of the new things in the stable version of Blender is before these connection lines used to be all black. Well, for the most part black, and if your image was dark and black, you could not really see them. They've made it so they're more of a gray-white with a black border, so no matter what color the background image is, you can still see your connections. That's rather nice. So we're going to add a vignette. Vignette is adding basically a little dark border around an image. Gives it a little nicer of a look in most cases. Right now, this is a video, but we're only looking at the still image. What we can do here is we can check auto refresh, and then we can also change the number of frames to however long you want. You can check the number of frames in Blender if you go to the text scene, but we're just going to do a little animation here. We'll say 100 frames, and start frame will start at the first frame. So now since we have auto refresh, if we start scrolling through our frames in Blender, it updates the video. So now you can see I have stepped into the frame here. I'll go back a little bit here, and there we go, I'm out of the frame now. In fact, I'm going to disconnect that. Let's see, still takes just as long. Okay, so anyway, we just basically want to add a vignette to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a few little nodes here. First thing we're going to add is a lens distortion node. So hit Shift A and go down to distortion and choose lens distortion. Connect this over here to your viewer so you can see what you're working with. And we're going to put the distortion up to 1. And what that does, give it a second to composite it, is it makes it look like it has a lens distortion. And it makes it pretty round because we put the value all the way up to 1. And what we're doing is we're creating the vignette blackness with this, rather than the way I used to do it, is I would go into GIMP and create a vignette and then import that image, so I would have the video and an image. This kind of skips that step. I picked this up over at blenderguru.com. He does this quite often in his videos, but he didn't come up with the technique. Someone else did. He's mentioned the name. I don't know who it was, or I'd give them credit. Now we're going to add another little node here. So Shift A again, and we're going to add a where are we looking here? We're looking for math. I forget where it's at all of a sudden. Convert math right there. So under converter, we're going to go math. We're going to change this to greater than. We'll connect the image out from the lens distortion to here, and the value out from here to our viewer. And you can see what happens here. And we're going to put this number all the way down to 0, basically making the image white. So it's giving us the black border that we want. We have a little bit of black in the video here, but it's image here, but it's not going to matter because we are going to add another node, and it's going to be under distort. Not distort. It's going to be under filters, blur. And if it connects the size here, just connect that. We want to connect the value out to image in here and the image out to the view here. Once again, disconnect the alpha here. It's just trying to guess on what to connect to, and that's not what we want. We'll click here on flat and change this to fast. I can never say this. Yeah. Basically, we're going to blur our image. Let's choose relative here, and we'll turn the values up to, we'll say 20 and 10. You can play with that some if you want, but you can see right there it gives us basically a little black border. If you want more of a border, you want to hit more on the edges here, just adjust these numbers a little bit. You can also adjust the size, but basically your X and Y values here. So good, we got our vignette. We just need to lay it over our image here real quick so that you can see our image. We're going to hit Shift A. We're going to add a color mix and connect the output of the blur to the image if it didn't automatically do it. The way it connects all depends on what is selected when you add stuff in, so it may or may not depending on what you were clicked on last. So we connect those, connect the image out to our viewer here so we can see what's going on. We don't want it to be mix, we want it to be multiply. And what we want to do also is move the blur image to the bottom image here. And we want to add the original image out to the image in here. And right there you can see our image, and it's hard to tell, it's got a little bit of a black border there. What we're going to do is we're going to turn this frac up to 1. And right there you can see we've got our image with a vignette on it. So once again we'll add another output, viewer output here. We'll connect our original video to this so we can quickly see original video. Then I'll click over here and with vignette. Don't forget to connect this to your compositor so it composites it when you render the video out. But that's how you add a vignette to a video or a scene that you're creating with Blender's Compositor in Blender 2.57. I thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful. I personally like adding a little vignette to most of my videos. I think it just adds a little extra oomph to it. Obviously you can add other effects on top of this, color corrections and whatnot, but the vignette, that's how you do it. You have your lens distortion, greater than, blur, multiply. We got a minute here, so I'll go over all the values here again. So we've got our original video going to a lens distortion set to 1. Then we connect it to a math, and we set that to greater than, and we put the value down to 0. We connect that to a blur, which we used fast Gaussian, and once again adjust the X, Y values to what you want. I chose 20 on the X and 10 on the Y. We'll change this a little bit here just so you can see the difference. Give it a second to render out. So you can see it kind of made the Y go up a little bit more, so it's add a frame more. If we want to put these down some, let's put these down to 5 and 5, and we'll get more of a border. There you go. So play with those some. And let's just put the size down. I haven't tried this down to 5. See what happens here. There you go. It basically blurred it less, so you got a stronger little vignette there. We'll put it back up to 1, blur it out there, and or let me say that wrong. Let me do that again. Let's set this back to 20 and 10. Oops. The computer's running a little slow doing video capture and Blender compositing at the same time. It's about time for me to upgrade my computer. I had to take a stick of RAM out of it last week because it went bad. Now let's put this down to 5. So basically X and Y is the strength, the size is how far out it goes. So the higher these numbers, the more the vignette is blurred. And then once again we multiply. Oops, I just disconnected that image. So the original image goes on top, the vignette image goes on the bottom. Set this to multiply. Once again, this is a mix node under a color mix. And we set the frac up to 1, and that's what we've got. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, I hope you found it useful, and I hope you have fun adding vignettes to your scenes and videos. Have a great day, and please visit the links in the description and filmsbychris.com. That's Chris with a K. Have a great day.